Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming. My name is Olo and today I'm back to talk to you about those damn arenas again. Those mysterious 3 arenas around the lands between, which are surprisingly detailed and fleshed out. The arenas which would be a perfect place to run match-made PvP, something Elden Ring would benefit from greatly. With set rules enforcing game code, balanced levels, limited healing, and a variety of game modes and more. Maybe it would even come with a rank system or some form of leaderboards. The thing is, these are all very real possibilities because it turns out in the game files are literal rank up notifications. Those arenas, they're not just physically there, but there's also a surprising amount of detail inside of them. Corridors and areas to explore alongside the main arena itself, filled with items that actually have collision. Match-made PvP is not something new to From Software. Dark Souls 2 was well loved for its PvP and that had its own arenas, as well as Dark Souls 3, of course, which had its Hollow arena which came in DLC. Covenants, which worked as factions, would give you a way to progress and then earn specific rewards, which were honestly really good. That existed in previous titles as well. Actually, they worked as a great way to give you something to work towards long term and sort of fully unlock a build. I think it would be a really good thing for the longevity of Elden Ring, and it even seems likely. So let's talk about where all of this comes from. Now, while the arenas have been explored by various people, data miners or those that are willing to use cheats to explore the world, it was Stray Curtis who tweeted out about the leaderboards thing. These appear to be data mine text pop-ups after certain events take place. Much like when you defeat a boss or say like succeed in an invasion, one of these texts would appear on your screen. However, very clearly these say rank advanced, with various titles beforehand. Stray Curtis was able to find 5 types of ranks: the Bloody Fingers, Hunters, Recusants, Duelists, and Furled Fingers. To me, these suggest Covenants for Elden Ring, which was surprisingly never in the original release. Maybe this is cut content alongside Covenants, or it's planned in the DLC. We can speculate fairly easy on which factions these belong to. The Bloody Fingers would be the Moog faction, the Recusants are naturally the Rykard faction. Now, Furled Fingers could be your default pick, or maybe the Golden Order, while Duelists could be, say, a new arena faction. Hunter, though, while you do hunt characters via the Rykard storyline, we already have that faction here, so it's likely that it's the Blue Hunters who are summoned during invasions, while they have that blue cipher ring activated from the Twin Maidens. So it seems to me you would pick a faction, one of these 5 then, aka your Covenant, and then progress it via various means, like we've seen in the past games. Then through that we'd unlock rewards, which in the past with Covenants would be powerful incantations or spells, equipment, and more. They could easily have just fun gestures to unlock, and so on. And I would guess like basic rewards at the lower ranks, and as you rank up to the higher ranks, eventually reaching the best rewards. But how would you actually rank up? Likely by winning X amount of PvP battles under the arena matchmaking system, or just current PvP while representing your faction. You see, in the past you would get certain items or currency and trade that in to unlock things or rank up. And you didn't just have to do PvP to get those items, you could farm specific mobs. Like in Dark Souls 1, there was some specific enemies that dropped their ears, which you would be able to turn in for rewards, or you could do specific PvP against a specific faction, and then that would drop ears as well. So maybe we'll have multiple options and multiple ways. Twitter user Church Guard replied to Stray Curtis's Twitter thread with her own interesting reveal though. It appears that a Covenant item slot is actually in the files of Elden Ring, just next to your last armor slot and talisman slot. To the right of that is an empty slot for something. It certainly seems like a Covenant item would fit perfectly there. So either it was planned from the start to have Covenants, or it was scrapped from the game pretty late because they had the concept for it. Ultimately though, we have in the files of the game a slot for your Covenant item, a clear indication of progression in a faction or Covenant, and various factions or Covenants to choose between, and obviously don't forget the arenas themselves. We do have literally in-game right now 3 Colosseums or arenas for Limgrave, Caelid, and the Altus Plateau, aka Lindell's arena. These arenas have been looked at close up by quite a few people now. Originally we saw inside the Limgrave arena during my first cut content video, where we can see the general size of the battle area, which is smaller than expected, the viewing stands that look down, and the open sea behind you, even on the sides, working elevators for each side or faction to enter from. Much the same then, the other arenas look and feel comparable with their own visual style to them. But the reason we think this isn't cut content, but content coming in the future, or like a future update, comes down to a few things. For example, they actually have collision, which is really unusual for unused content found in the game. Normally with something like that, you'd no-clip walk straight through it. but these are physical objects already. It's got things like lighting from active fires and braziers, corridors and routes to follow around, and even storage areas with objects that you can actually collide and break. That is really strange for cut content. When we look at the Altus Plateau arena though, it has a really nice feeling to it. You see the sands of battle, the view of the Erd tree from behind rather than the sea, and weapons that are dug into the sand like the Radan boss arena that again you can collide with and break. The whole area and arena itself has this tint of yellow or orange to it, which makes me think of Caelid more than it does like Lindell. Meanwhile, the Caelid arena on the inside is a bit starker. The grey walls that line the arena, the corridors that are smaller and straight to the point. Overall, it's less grand compared to the Lindell one, which I suppose makes sense. But it does feel like Lindell's arena was a bit more fleshed out and closer to being finished compared to Caelid's. Limgrave is much like Caelid, without many objects to interact with and a simpler short layout. The grey walls are much the same, without the extra details or textures on them. It could be that they just haven't finished these two, which is very likely, you know, to make them more suitable to the area they're actually in. Or it could be that maybe Limgrave is like the lowest level arena, and as you progress you get to do content in the Caelid arena, and then you finish off with the Lindell one at the highest ranks. Maybe not, I think the variety makes more sense. Now PvP match-made modes we've seen in previous titles like the Hollow Arena of Dark Souls 3 would let us queue for 1v1s, free-for-all battles with lots of players at once, or team battles. And these would all work great in Elden Ring, especially if we could pick a faction beforehand to work on, which then obviously rewards us with new spells or incantations, new faction armor, maybe even new weapons and more. I see this as a simple but very effective way to encourage PvP long-term, as well as actually inject some new items into the game in a smaller update. Or, yeah, I guess, as part of major DLC later on. The DLC itself, though, seems extremely likely at this point. If you are unaware, the financial results of Kadokawa's fiscal year, this is the parent company of From Software, gave us a literal direct answer on what they think of Elden Ring and the future of it. In that, they said the game was an extreme success and they were immediately considering other options. You see, as part of the Q&A section, they said they're already considering how to help customers continue to enjoy Elden Ring and are actually considering multiple options rather than just one. So at very least, DLC is an obvious answer, new content to revive the player base, while also giving them a way to, yeah, generate more sales. It's a no-brainer. From Software is far from inexperienced when it comes to DLC. They've released some of the best DLC content in any game I've ever played. Usually it ends up being the best part of the entire game long-term. Dark Souls 1's DLC or Bloodborne's, both incredible. Now Elden Ring would need a huge DLC to actually match the size of the base game in a proper way though, so we're gonna have to wait and see on that. So far, they've already updated the game multiple times with balance patches much bigger than what we're used to from the devs. Both the content of those free updates and the speed at which they came out was surprising. Like the minor content involved, like NPC locations now showing on the map, patches getting a complete storyline, the Jarbug town and that storyline. They're clearly making more effort than ever before to keep the game updated, so maybe a free update for match-made PvP and these arenas could be on the table. What do you think? For now though, that is everything I have for you today. If you found the video useful or interesting, please do drop a like so we can make more like this in the future. Otherwise though, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.